So with The Wolf Among Us, we got Fabletown, a town chock full of fables from old stories, hidden among the Mundies, living lives in their own little separate worlds, figuratively, while literally in the same town, using glamour to disguise themselves. A very interesting little concept. And the sheriff himself was the old big bad wolf, now Big B. What's interesting about this episodic series was the feeling of nostalgia the music brought. So Big B Wolf used to be this terrifying wolf who's now the sheriff charged to protect the Mundies and the Fables from each other, as well as from themselves. Turning over a new leaf, essentially. And throughout this investigation, you just kind of choose how that goes, trying to redeem himself. But what's interesting about this episodic series was the feeling of nostalgia that the music brought, thoughtful and magical, and yet full of mystery. And in this video, we're going to discuss some of those mysteries. So, throughout Big B's investigation, we get the first murder in Fabletown. We find that many people, including the young girl Faith he had just met, are all enslaved by the Crooked Man, who controls all of Fabletown through his loans and forced prostitution. Things either go his way or he kills them. It's a very twisted sense of order, and the girls with the ribbons are all the slaves, whose lips are sealed due to the magic spell on them.
These lips are sealed. These lips are sealed. My lips are sealed.
The ribbons are essentially chains, and either they're stuck with them forever and can't say anything, or they're removed and their heads fall off. A very unpleasant form of magical slavery.
Chains? Who's getting chained up here?
You can't think I'm the only one the Crooked Man has under his yoke.
With all these raw materials, it looks like he could process them into just about any kind of magic. He's got all he needs. The gear, and slave labor to work it. He's got his hooks into everybody, and it's pretty clear how.
Oh yeah? How?
Doing it like this. It's bound to be cheaper than the 13th floor.
This is just horrible. The things that must have gone on here.
It's the pudding and pie girls with the ribbons. Whoever he's got in here in these chains, he's enslaving Fables. On my watch.
Through these means and his powerful minions, he can pretty much do whatever he wants, especially with the local psychopathic Bloody Mary, who apparently is so effed up that she kills and feeds kids to their pet dog.
Tweedledee, what's the thing the Mundies call me?
What?
My nickname. You know what I'm talking about.
Bloody
Mary, that's it. Thank you. And do you know why they call me that? Because some of them, they think it's funny to have their little sleepovers and go into their little bathrooms and say my name 5 times in the mirror. They find it less funny when I actually show up and feed their lungs to the family dog.
Great stuff, right? But the thing here is the Crooked Man is the main antagonist.
You're destroying this town. You've been doing it for ages.
Destroying this town? What on earth do you mean?
What the hell do you think I mean? Slavery, kidnapping, extortion, murder? What would you call the wholesale corruption of Fabletown?
I would call it the baseless accusation of a desperate sheriff. How are you certain this isn't some conspiracy against me? I'm a well-connected man, well-moneyed. People do like to take their shots at me.
You're right that there's a conspiracy, but you're the one behind it.
Yet, as it turns out, he is not the mystery in this game. There's a mystery far deeper than him, and that is, who the hell is this girl? You see, we first meet her with a ribbon, clearly enslaved by the Crooked Man. We see her getting beat up by a drunk, Woody, for not recognizing him. Then she's presumably killed later. Then we meet a new girl named Nerissa, who, while enslaved by the ribbon, finds her own way to lead you to discovering Crane's sick fantasies and connections to the Crooked Man, leading you to inevitably single-handedly take down all of his minions, Bloody Mary and the Crooked Man himself. Which, by the way, is a bit overpowered, but okay. As a manipulative mastermind he is, the Crooked Man nearly escapes and talks his way out of it, until he's finally exposed by Nerissa.
You enslaved us for years. Let us hear stories about what you do. Told us we would lose
everything if we stepped just one toe out of line. And we couldn't say a word about it because of these damn ribbons. But you know what? Now it's my turn to talk.
How are you? It's going to be just...
He ordered them dead. This fucker. Faith and Lily.
That's a lie!
I was in the goddamn room when he did it. Faith and Lily are dead because of you. The only two people who ever gave a damn about me.
And this just confirms it.
Off with their heads and all that. Case closed. But then we discover she lied. This is what actually happened.
Faith, Lily, and I, we had this plan. We were gonna find a way out. Leave the pudding and pie for good. But then Faith decided to get some leverage. She stole a picture of Crane and Lily together. The minute Faith stole that photo, we had dirt on one of the crooked man's allies. If he found out...
Crane hired them to look for a photo? So that's why they were at her apartment. And the woodsman's place.
I freaked out, okay? I thought if I came clean to Georgie, he'd get the crooked man to leave us alone. We could just forget the whole thing. Maybe try again in a few years.
You what?
So I told him everything. And I begged for mercy for all of us.
So you sold them out?
No. Yes. Georgie promised he'd smooth things over with the crooked man. But then, I don't know what happened. But that night at the club, Georgie came back and told me things had changed. He had to make an example of us. We had committed treason. And while the two of us were sitting there, as he was telling me this, Faith walked in, and I had to watch while Georgie...
Wait, so Georgie told you all this? Not the crooked man? Back at the well, you said...
I know what I said.
But it wasn't the truth, was it?
What does it matter? I know the crooked man did it. I know he ordered their deaths. I wasn't gonna let him get away with it because of a stupid technicality. Especially after... that night, after Faith. I tried to warn Lily, but she wasn't with her scheduled appointment. So I did the only thing I could do. I left Faith's head at your doorstep.
You?
I walked her over here, and I left her, just hoping that maybe if I couldn't save them, could at least save the rest of us.
So that ring in her mouth, that was you?
Yeah, I couldn't think of any other way to get your attention.
So let's assume this is how the story started. She left a head there, and Nerissa started this whole thing.
So you started all this?
I just pointed you in the right direction.
Well, that clearly indicates, as commonly believed, that Faith and Nerissa, at least the Faith shown at the start, are the same person. The only question is, which one? One half says Nerissa, the other half says Faith, and looking back, here's how their exact mannerisms match.
Here.
Thanks. Thanks.
Ribbons. Faith wore one too.
Hey, you like my ribbon? Do you like it? Do you?
Stop. We don't have to make any more of a thing out of it than it already is.
Listen, Sheriff. Can you keep this conversation between us?
I need to tell you something.
What is it?
I have to tell you something.
What is it?
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
They are definitely the same person. But which one? They often covered each other's shifts, adding to the credibility that they are in fact the same person somehow.
Faith, thanks for covering for me tonight. Let's talk before you go over to the apartment. Lily.
that they've blended together in some kind of vast conspiracy going on here.
I need to tell you something.
I have to tell you something.
I feel like we've met before.
You're trying to place me.
You like my ribbon?
Do you like it?
Faith wore one too.
Would hide her beauty so she could escape his kingdom.
They used to call me the Little Mermaid.
Dr. Swinehart ever get back to you about Faith?
He said he wanted to run more tests. I hope you find what you're looking for.
And Faith's things were broken into.
Lock's been busted open. Broken open. But there isn't even a lock.
Kinda strange, it just leaves a lot of mystery, and while I could go very deeply into this, let's just say that I'm leaning a little bit towards Nerissa possibly being Faith. Why? Well, her history.
The story of Donkey Skin. There was once a great king with a beautiful queen. The queen grew ill and had her husband promise to only marry the most beautiful girl in the kingdom. After a long search, it became clear that the only woman in the land that could match her beauty was... his daughter, Faith. She had a magic cloak made from the skin of her father's prized donkey that would hide her beauty so she could escape his kingdom. Eventually, she married a prince who could see past the magic cloak and knew her true beauty. And they lived happily ever after.
And even at the end, it's hinted. So let's use an analogy here. Let's say her father is the Crooked Man, and she hid her identity/beauty to escape his crooked kingdom. Essentially, a poetic repeat. If she was, in fact, Nerissa, however, then the Faith we met was already dead, and that is also equally very well possible. But seeing as Faith was a master of disguise, I lean towards that for the slight poetic likelihood.
Poetic?
And when you ask to see Faith, the mirror says,
"Through powerful magic her whereabouts concealed. Unfortunately for you, these lips are sealed."
What?
These lips are sealed. It's not my choice of phrasing, Bigby. It's simply the way this has to be.
But if her ribbon was removed and she's dead, such a thing should no longer work, right? At the end, she refuses to let you remove her ribbon.
You're still wearing that thing.
Oh, yeah. I guess I am.
Let me help.
Bigby, I know you're trying to help, but this is just something I need to do on my own, okay?
It could very well kill Nerissa, or maybe she's just afraid of her head falling off. Understandable. Or maybe she doesn't want her glamour taken off. Maybe it's actually a part of her glamour. Okay, that last part was half serious. To be honest, I could lay out a lot more evidence that other people have already laid out in other videos, but I don't need to do that because other people have already done that. So really, it's just food for thought, and here's some big reasons why people would think that. But whether it's Nerissa or Faith, I think there was actually some sort of romantic undertones. It kinda gave off those vibes, mainly through the body language.
You should get cleaned up. You look like shit. And I don't use that term lightly. Some of these look pretty bad.
Wow. Tell me what you really think.
Hey. I need to tell you something.
What is it?
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
A potential future love interest, perhaps? Maybe. Maybe not. You might say I don't want to be shoehorned into just Snow White, given I found her kind of a strict bitch at times, willing to burn an old lady's magical tree and destroy her whole livelihood. Which I very much rejected.
I'm not gonna burn down this tree.
No, I don't think so. Now let's talk potential for Season 2. For starters, we feel like we have some potential that could have happened and wasn't utilized. A big one is Bluebeard. Time and again here, we see it inferred that he cannot be trusted.
You just can't go up there alone, all right?
I've no interest in nicking his drapes, my dear, if that's what concerns you.
What concerns me is you traipsing through possible evidence.
Fine, I don't care. Just go ahead.
We can't just let Bluebeard run amok in Crane's place.
Ha!
He's after something, I just don't know what it is.
Wherever you go, I'll go to the other.
I don't like you going anywhere unsupervised.
He's up to something. I don't know what it is, but we don't have the time to really worry about it now.
But this is never revealed as to why. Aside from his tendency to be rather brutal in his interrogation methods, what reason is there? We also have questions like, what is he even up to? Why did he burn Crane's things?
Bluebeard burned everything.
Why would Bluebeard come here just to burn all of Crane's stuff? Why the hell did you burn Crane's stuff, huh? Don't bullshit me. Buffkin was there. I know it was you.
Given Ichabod's obsession with Miss White, I thought it best to make sure that nothing untoward saw the light of day.
Oh, fuck off. I know you were burning evidence.
Then tell me, what evidence did I burn?
I have more important things to deal with right now, but you can be sure that we're gonna have a long fucking talk about this when I'm done.
I do so enjoy our talks. I'll wait with bated breath.
Why is he even featured in the future episode preview for Wolf Among Us?
Obviously, there will have to be some changes.
And shown in the main episode feature here, as if he was meant to take over as mayor of Fabletown. This seems to be an abandoned plot point, and thus just leaves unanswered questions. Maybe in Season 2 he will pull a power move to take over like that. Power plays are always entertaining. Perhaps he pulls a power play like this because of whatever happens to Snow again takes over somehow. All the while we have a new main villain threat that takes over, and Bluebeard and Bigby kinda clash over trying to take him down. Either way, it's an abandoned plot point that leaves much to be desired. I'm just theorizing on how it could be reutilized for a Season 2, so to speak. Then we have Toad. We never got to see him in Glamour, since he never had the money for it and basically just whined the whole time.
Toad, this is the business office, not a bank.
You're always talking about glamours and how it's my responsibility. Well, what about your responsibility? My car, Total, the gaping maw in my wall, any of us sound familiar?
Not really that important, but I'm kinda curious as to what his glamored state would look like. Just a curiosity. This also goes for our cool boy Colin here. Lastly, we got subtle mentions of other fables like Rose, who in the comics, by the way, is the twin sister of Snow White. And then there's Briar Rose, the Sleeping Beauty.
This is Briar Rose's place.
And even Cinderella, who, according to old abandoned files, was actually going to play a secondary main character before it was scrapped. And she was never actually featured in the game. Aside from these little tidbits, we have minor mentions like a blacksmith. We have the Badger here, who looks like a pretty cool guy from the art here. Just an assumption. With messed up villains like the Crooked Man's gang, Tweedledee and Dumb, the Jersey Devil, and Bloody Mary out of the picture, we finally have the question, who will be the next collection of villains? I wonder. So those were my thoughts and theories about The Wolf Among Us. Be on the lookout for more thoughts and theories about other games in the future. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed, and farewell.